Rights groups are sounding the alarm about rising insecurity across Nigeria. Human Rights Watch says recent attacks in the capital, Abuja, are causing fear among citizens. Nigeria's security forces are battling on several fronts, with jihadist groups in the northeast, criminal gangs in the northwest and center, and separatist violence in the southeast. The government is under pressure to end the growing insecurity. DW correspondent Flourish Chukura tells us more.
Rising terror threats. National Assembly leaders fret, rally security chiefs for protection. It's become normal for Nigeria's security problems to feature on front pages of newspapers. Almost every morning, Nigerians wake up to the news of one attack or the other. It's become their reality. For the past decade, the biggest security threat has been the Boko Haram insurgency in the north. But other criminal gangs and armed movements have emerged elsewhere, threatening the country's stability. Among them are the groups popularly referred to as bandits. They've turned the country's highways into high-risk zones, frequently kidnapping travelers. In March, they even ambushed a train. Now they've set their sights on Abuja, Nigeria's capital, which was until now considered a safe haven for the country's elite.
We have to cut down on social activities. Nobody wants to stay out late at night anymore. As soon as you are done from work, you want to hurry home because of the uncertainty of what will happen.
If something is not being done about them, even the so-called big men we have in this country will not have anywhere to hide their faces anymore.
If a government cannot protect lives and property, which is the primary objective of government, it's embarrassing. If the federal government can invite external forces to come and handle the issue, it's at best.
It's clear Nigerians have little faith in the police and military. Some local authorities are even advising civilians to take care of their own security, licensing them to carry guns. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari recently ordered security agencies to, in his words, end this madness. But this is just one of the many times he has given such a command. And as the general elections draw closer, there are growing fears that Nigeria's security crisis will worsen.
As we heard there, one of the threats faced by Nigerians is kidnapping. Security analysts say abductions have become part of a thriving industry benefiting armed gangs and other criminals. DW's Olisa Chukuma spoke to a man who negotiates the release of hostages.
This is Yehusa Geso. You don't often get to meet people who do what he does. He's a kidnap ransom negotiator. He works out deals with bandits so families can pay to get their loved ones free.
Banditry and kidnapping in Nigeria have become a lucrative business, much more than the oil business. And I want to tell you, it is expanding scope by day. They don't care who you are. They don't care the family you come from. They don't care whether you are rich or poor.
He says when a kidnapping is reported, he contacts the families and offers to help for free. He knows many gangs, having researched various crime networks. But even with his expertise, he says sometimes it doesn't work.
The total of 49 million was collated at the time when we agreed to deliver the money. 49 million was delivered, and he killed one person again because we could not complete the money to 50 million.
Bandits kidnapped hundreds of people in March this year when they attacked a train leaving the capital, Abuja. Aminu's brother was one of those taken. He was held captive until just a few weeks ago. Aminu didn't want to discuss the details of how they got him free, but it took months. When we visit, he calls Hassan, who is still recovering.
We really miss you. Yeah, seriously, it's a terrible 4 months for us. What I'm really missing now is hugging you, and I'm very far. I'm crying. I really miss you, brother.
I can see that. I can see that, yes.
No one knows how many people are currently being held for ransom around the country.
With the security situation in Nigeria, kidnapping has become quite common, and families who fall victim are left with no choice than to negotiate, which in most cases means paying ransom.
Government security forces are clearly not winning the challenge posed by the kidnapping bandits. It's become a thriving industry.
If you abduct and you are paid money, it's an incentive. And today that's what's happening. They abduct, they are paid money. And they are able to spend that money. So all the three elements of the crime triangle are available. None of them has been changed or blocked. So that's why you see the growth in kidnap for ransom. It's a crime.
A crime that can hit anyone at any time, making normal life in Nigeria less certain for everyone.
For more on this, I am now joined by Anietie Ewang, Nigeria researcher for Human Rights Watch Africa in Abuja, Nigeria. Hello, Anietie. Welcome to the program. Now, in your research, you say that security threats have reached critical levels. How bad is insecurity in Nigeria now?
Well, thank you very much for having me. I think we're saying that security threats have reached critical levels, essentially because we're seeing Islamist insurgency groups as well as armed bandits that have continued to thrive as a result of years of conflict in Nigeria's northeast and northwest, respectively. We're seeing these groups expand beyond their initial areas of operation into areas such as the Federal Capital Territory, Nigeria's seat of government, where they're carrying out brazen attacks against civilians and against government institutions as well. These groups are causing, harm, and they're really propagating fear amongst citizens who really do not know what is coming at them next. Recently in Abuja, there was an attack against a federal prison wherein almost 900 inmates, including about 65 Boko Haram suspects, escaped. This happened right in the city where the seat of government is located. And the security forces were not able to intervene until much later. For many citizens who live here, who have their lives in Abuja really stopped by many of these attacks, it is really concerning, and it really shows that the Islamist insurgency in the northwest and the armed banditry that we're seeing in the northeast, in the northeast and in the northwest, respectively, they're not just threats in pockets of the country, but they are national threats that are quite disturbing.
You say the right word. Disturbing is what it is, especially because insecurity has gone on for so long in Nigeria. Why is that?
I think there's no simple answer to that question, but there's several factors that definitely come to mind. The very first being the fact that, Nigerian security forces, despite their best efforts, have not been able to protect citizens and prevent, these sort of attacks from happening. At the core of that issue have been questions around, the capabilities of the Nigerian security forces, how well equipped they are. And despite huge budgetary allocations to the Nigerian security forces year in and year out, we still see cases of corruption scandals erupt to the tune of billions of dollars, of naira, millions of dollars that should be used to purchase, weapons and other equipment for the security forces to be able to do their job. But apart from that, I think that there's still really core grievances in many of these communities that gave the conflict the start in the first place. In the Northwest, we've seen many conflicts as a result of grazing land or water between nomadic herdsmen and farming communities really turn into violent crisis that the authorities have not been able to deal with. And this, of course, have led to, armed groups that are causing a lot of mayhem to the country.
Yeah. armed groups, including especially more these days, kidnappers who are kidnapping for ransom. But as you said earlier, it doesn't seem like whatever the government is doing is working. You're doing something, but it doesn't seem to be working. What more can authorities do to tackle insecurity and protect civilians?
I think another factor that we must also consider is the approach. A completely militarized approach to dealing with the insurgency and the conflict is not all that should be considered as, the solution. More critically, we should be looking at how the authorities are investigating these attacks or these groups and the threat that they pose to civilians. Whether or not there are prosecutions happening, whether or not they're really respecting human rights in carrying out the sort of counterinsurgency measures that they're engaged in. Because a failure to do so, in our opinion, only spurs, and from our research actually, only spurs more grievances against the government, which fuels more cycles of violence, which allows many of these groups to continue to recruit people into their ranks and continue to be at odds ends with the authorities. So I think one major recommendation that we have, apart from the authorities stepping up in their duties to protect citizens and to get to the core of many of the grievances that have led to the conflict in the first place, including conflict around resources or ethno-religious tensions, or even poverty, which many people have also researched as one of the main drivers of some of these conflicts. We really need to see them step up in respecting human rights.
Okay. Aniette Wang with Human Rights Watch Africa, thank you.